Welcome back to the pregame show. Glad you can join us on this Thursday night high school football action. We are back here in Jackson, and the Vicksburg Gators trying to remain undefeated. Jim Hill, the opponent here on this Thursday night. We had one Hill last week. Now we got another Hill this week.
Absolutely.
We're joined by Vicksburg High Coach Todd McDaniel. Coach, congratulations. Big win. And you got the job done, minus some key defensive players. So anytime you can win a game, minus some of your stars, that's always a good thing.
It really is. We had a few guys that was out. We rested them last week and going to probably rest them again this week. But I was just happy to see younger guys get out there and play and fly around. And this. So we can be able to build up some depth also. So we have a big kid by the name of DJ Purnell. He's about 6'3", about 280, number 60. You can see him out there running around and extremely fast, So let him get opportunity to get his feet wet and get out there and play, So, and a lot of younger defensive ends got out there and make some really good plays. And we got an opportunity to get our JV out there and make some plays and score some touchdowns. So it was just good to see the young guys get out there and really play against a varsity football team and be successful.
Tell you what, Forest Hill had a quarterback, big time size. I mean, big arm. I mean, he was kind of hard to bring down. And it looked like for a period of time when the game started to get out of hand, I don't know if it was desperation, but they started to run some stuff for him to move the ball down the field because obviously it was a struggle. Your defense stepped up. It's about as big of a quarterback as you're going to see.
Well, Forest Hill, Jim Hill, Callaway Provine, they're going to have big athletes, and as you can see, we haven't been on the field with a team that we were bigger than yet, and definitely we weren't bigger than Forest Hill and we will not be bigger than Jim Hill tonight, so we got our work cut out. We can't take anybody lightly, they're going to have athletes. I used to always call them the 7-on-7 kings because yes, because you go and play them in 7-on-7, I'm talking about they're double tapping, triple toe tapping on the sidelines, and I'm not talking about just really athletic kids going to get the football, so maybe I've been traumatized from it, but I don't take them lightly, because they have people that if you get them the ball and they get a crease, they can score, so it's just, we did a good job of keeping them out the end zone. They had a really good receiver and a really good quarterback, so, even tonight they have a kid, I don't know his name, is number 1, he's lightning fast. I wish I had him. So they're going to offensive line. They got one kid out there about 6'7", 6'8", playing offensive tackle, So, I mean, they can say what they want about JPS football, but they have athletes, and I know I've coached there.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because we were talking about it during the broadcast. We talk about JPS and just talking with people in the stands and just general people. Mm-hmm. You talk about JPS athletics, you talk about basketball. Mm-hmm. You don't talk a lot about football. And we kind of had our way with those schools, the Forest Hills and the Jim Hills of the world, Callaways and those type. But from a football perspective, they don't have that level of success, but you see the talent. You see, just like you talked about, you see the individual talent. Right. It's just putting it together on the football field. It's kind of perplexing if you're a high school football fan.
Well, for example, after 2005, we won our first state championship in Hazelhurst. I got my first head coaching job at Wingfield High School, and they were 5-49 over the previous 5 years. And I met about 60 kids that was beautiful, great looking football players, but they were 5-49 over the previous 5 years. And we made it to the playoffs, won 6 or 7 games both years that I was there. I wish I would have had them as ninth graders because every game that we played against number 1 Oak Grove and number 3 Meridian, it was a 12-9 game. The previous year was 72-6. So we were able to cut their winning rate down by 60 points and had a chance to win the games at the end. We just didn't have the tradition of beating the #1 team and the #3 team in the state. But as far as talent, you go to talk about Darius Bollier that played fullback at Jackson State. You probably remember that name. You know, those guys were really good football players, offensive linemen, 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds, and they just wanted to win. So they went from 5-49 over 5 years to 6 or 7 wins in my 2 years there in 06 and 07. You know, so I just think that they need to pretty much just put the resources behind those kids because they can definitely win.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you saw the individual
Right.
talent, and so you obviously have their respect in terms of what
Most
they can do.
Most definitely. I just know they can take it to the house from anywhere on the field. I've seen it, you know.
Yeah.
So they just need a crease. That's it, you know. So.
You look traumatized.
I mean, they can play. They can play. I mean, you know, people say JPS that. You know, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
You know, I know that we got to go out there and we got to kill a net with a sledgehammer, as old Cardell Jones used to tell us as players. Go out there and kill a net with a sledgehammer because we can't let them get any type of mojo going, any type of confidence, because it'll be a long night.
Yeah. Well, it was a short night in the second half. That second half probably took 20 minutes with the running time.
Right, and the game still lasted 3 hours.
Well, let's talk about the first half, because that was, I mean,
a long first half.
It was a long first half, kind of a sluggish first half.
Right.
Have you been able to put your finger on it?
Right. No, I have not. You know, it's just that certain things went on, and I looked at my watch at halftime and said, man, it's 9:30, you know. So I mean, what just happened, you know?
Yeah.
But we were running the ball. We throw the ball a little bit more now than we have in the past, you know. But that shouldn't have lasted an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes first half.
Yeah.
You know, so a few flags here and there on the ground, you know. So hopefully tonight we can get out there and get the rolling, and the handkerchiefs will continue to be in the pockets of the refs.
Well, all I know is that last Friday there was like we had 6 or 7 penalties in the first 6. We had more penalties than minutes played in the game.
Right.
That's just how.
Right.
You continue to talk about the discipline
Right.
aspect. There's consequences behind penalties.
Right.
This week, have you been able to put your finger on looking back at the film?
You know what? We got to lock in. We got to lock in. Period. I've never seen it. We got to lock in. I've never seen this before. You know, we have to get focused. This has to be a priority.
Yeah.
Me and Coach Bennett was just talking about this. This football has to be a priority for our kids. We have to understand that when you go and play the top flight teams in the state in 5A football, you're not going to get away with that.
Yeah.
You know, so we probably barrel crawled about 400 yards Monday and probably the same on Tuesday. You know, so sooner or later they'll understand, you know, what we're out there for. You know, so some of the penalties was bonehead. We don't stand over people. You know, look at me type of stuff. You know, just go out there and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
We're talking with Vicksburg High Coach Todd McDaniel here as we get ready for the next ball game. Jim Hill coming up here in just a matter of moments on this Thursday night. Some Thursday night football action. So you talked about the big score. You're able to rest some of your starters. Talk about some of the youngsters that you got in that you can talk about that is really on the up and up.
Right. Well, you had the opportunity to see Mikey Johnson. Mikey Johnson is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Then you have Mince Minor, which is going to be, he's also a quarterback, but he's a wingback also. So you look at those two kids, and the future is really bright for Vicksburg football. You know, I told Mikey, I said, man, you're going to make me go 5 wide. You're going to make me go empty. You're going to make me change my whole philosophy about football, you know, because he's just that talented, you know. So you can see some of the plays that he made Friday. I can start calling him Brett Favre, the way he flipped the ball out there on a waggle, and then he looks like McNair running down the middle of the field, you know. So he's a phenomenal talent, you know, got great DNA, great father, great mom, you know, and those guys really support him, and he's an all-around great kid. So just happy to see him out there and having fun and enjoying himself. And you see the other offensive linemen, young guys, and our young defense, Steve Anderson, he went out there and made some great plays at linebacker and at fullback, you know. So the sky's the limit for this program.
And it is a result of the hard work that you and your staff have put in even as they were younger. You talk about the JV program and how then you talk about playing some of those young players, and your team's really doing well as far as the JV is concerned. We don't talk about it enough.
Right.
That's kind of the feeder. I mean, the same system in JV, the wing T, and so just talk about that aspect of it. Just bringing up the youngsters, continuing to develop them as they get to the big show.
Right. Well, it's about spending time with them, and like for instance, this spring we had a spring practice for our incoming ninth graders. So be able to get them out there and put and install the things that we do here, and not to mention 7th, 8th grade, they're running the same offense. So we have the program in line. I was reading one post said we're not a program. We don't have people. Our feeder programs are not running the same thing. Where are you located? From 7th grade all the way up, we run the same offense, same defense. So when they get to high school, they're very familiar. But we're probably a little bit more detailed. We have a little bit more time on this level, so being a little bit more detailed and getting the kids to understand what we're trying to do. Offensively and defensively, of course, special teams. That has worked wonders. So being able to see those guys, being able to put a whole platoon, a whole nother offense out there, and of course, they're not going to be as sharp as the varsity. And the game going to move a little faster for them. But being able to get those guys out there against varsity competition, that only speeds up the process of your program.
Is that how it works? I mean, just educating me a little bit, when you're talking about 7th, 8th grade and you get to the varsity level, typically programs across high school football across the country is usually the same system from the lower to the mid to high school. Is that typically how it works?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you want to be successful, that's how it works. Even in Hazelhurst, the Pee-wees are running the wing T. Of course it has changed now. But running the wing T, and when they get to high school, our junior high, they're very familiar with what's going on. So. It's just a process. Of course, when I first made it here, we were unable to play any ninth grade or JV games. We were just strictly varsity. So now we're able to field a ninth grade team, a junior varsity team, and our 7th and 8th grade team is doing really well. So we're just trying to build that feeder pattern. I need a defensive end for next year. Well, he's already been identified. So for instance, I know who my quarterback is going to be in 2026. I know who my right guards are going to be. So and hopefully and preferably that they don't leave Vicksburg. For various different reasons. It happens. But we have kids in line, and we're going to know where they're going to be located as the years come about.
We're talking with Vicksburg High coach Todd McDaniel as we get ready for this Thursday night action. You talked about special teams. A little bit different wrinkle on special teams. I thought maybe you kicked a few more PATs. You went for 2. Talk a little bit about the strategy last Friday night in terms of your PAT attempts and going for 2s.
Well, we've had some hard luck in our kicking situation. We lost our best kicker, Cedric Blackmore, early in the year to a torn ACL. Bobby Taylor did really good last week, broke his toe on the first PAT. So we've lost 2 kickers in 3 weeks. So that's why you see DeMarcus Johnson out there kicking, because we tried to prepare for the long haul. But hey, what your plans and God's plans are 2 different sets of plans. So we've lost 2 really good kickers. So now we're scraping and scrapping, trying to make sure that we were able to show up on the end and it doesn't hurt us in the future.
Wow. So we're going to be looking at more 2-point attempts. You just got to play it.
Right now, we're going to look at more 2-point attempts until we can perfect our kicking. So, and of course tonight you're going to see us kick because we need a kicking game time situation, and hopefully it doesn't bite us at the end where we're, the score is 20 and and we need 1 point. So tonight is a good night to try to work on the kicking and make sure the kicking game is up to par. But I just never seen this happen. I've never had 2 kickers, and both of them get hurt. So it's kind of different.
Yeah, you had talked about having several long snappers and holders, and
right.
You don't expect to lose 1,
right?
But then you definitely don't expect to lose 2 kickers.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have more long snappers and holders than we need. We just don't have the kicker to go along with it now. So that's just part of the game, So you got to keep coaching. That's why they call us COACH.
Yeah.
We got to keep coaching. So we'll get it together once again.
Well, tonight you look at a Jim Hill Ball Club 0-3-1 on the season. Played Port Gibson. Florence, they lost 42-0. They lost to Macomb, and of course they played Ridgeland. What do you see in this team here tonight that we're facing?
I see a young football team with growing pains. I see coaches trying to put the kids in the right place and trying to put them in a place where they can be successful, you know. And when you're trying to build a program, of course, I've had several, it's just going to be growing pains. I see talent. I see talent all over the field, but you got to cultivate that talent, you know. Yeah. So you got to be able to put that talent in the right place, you know. A lot of times, all these schools are going to have a lot of talent, but you know, have the coaches had the opportunity. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scene that no one really knows about. You know, do they have the proper time in the evening or during the school day to be able to put their football program together? I think this was a guy, he came in, he was a late hire, so he came in the kind of situation that I came in, but it was just COVID stopping me, you know, so he came in maybe in the middle of the summer or whatever the case may be, so it's going to be a struggle for him, you know, but he has a good group of kids out there and they keep working, they're going to be just fine, but I just hope they're not going to be fine tonight.
Yeah, and you're in the heat of district play. I mean, you want to keep this thing rolling, what, 96 points in the last couple of games? Is this kind of what you expected? This offense? Do you feel like your offense is at top tier?
We're not as crisp as we would like to be, and that attributes to shuffling offensive linemen here or there, having a few guys out, you know. But we're not as crisp as I would like to be. I think that we will be, but still in all, though, I believe that we continue to work and continue to grind on the things that's important, and we'll be just fine at the end of the day.
Caleb Bryant didn't play last week. Will he play tonight?
No.
He will not play? No. So you are holding out some folks against tonight just to make sure everybody's 100% for the stretch run.
Right. We'll have 2 defensive linemen out tonight and also 2 offensive linemen out tonight. So, but still in all, though, we have been preparing for this. That's why we have 2s and 3s. Yeah. It's time for the 2s to step up.
Who are the offensive linemen that'll be out?
Vontarius Franklin and Travis Stewart.
Okay, and Caleb will be out. Who will be on the?
Kellen Washington will be out also.
So those 2 were out last.
Right.
How has the youngsters stepped up for you? I mean, we know what the critical guys are, but how have the 2s and 3s handled it?
Well, you know, they've handled it really well. You know, of course, the speed of the game is going to be a little different. Our defense does a really good job of giving us a picture, you know, every day. So, you know, it's very seldom that we're going to meet defenses that's going to move as fast as ours, you know. But iron sharpens iron, you know, and we have some young guys that's going to step up, and I believe they're going to be ready for the challenge.
Coach, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll take a time out here. We'll be right back with the kickoff.